morning, Hoosier Nation, and welcome to another all-too-familiar edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Rutgers. Last night, your Indiana Hoosiers go on to lose a must-win game, 66-63. In a game that started off pretty nice for Trayce Jackson-Davis, getting whatever he wanted to down low. Had some great action there at the beginning, set himself up great for the rest of the game against a very long, lengthy, and tough big guy by kind of going off his right shoulder for the first time and kind of going against, obviously, the scouting report that you're going to have. If you're going to play against Trayce Jackson-Davis, you know you need to sit on his right shoulder because that's the way he wants to go and the way he's going to move when he's got his back to the basket. And going off his left was a smart thing for him to do right off the bat. Didn't convert that, but that kind of set up some things for him to allow him to get a few more points at the beginning of the game. And Assembly Hall was rocking. Kudos to you, Hoosier Nation, and all the fans that got out there. Thanks for showing up. Thanks to the students that showed up and did your part. You were there. You were full throat. You were very loud. Grace and a lot of the other reporters there had even stated on Twitter, I saw, that it was the loudest they had heard it all season at some points. So that was great. Good job to you guys getting out there. But looking back at the first half and part of the game, it was kind of a situation that we've seen multiple times in these home games where we've had the crowd and had the hall ready to erupt and get going, and it was just missed shots again. That was the story, and we hit them a little bit better in the second half, but it was the missed shots in the first half that show such a bad stat line for 3-point shooting, being 6 for 21. A lot of that was in the first half. And when Indiana had a lead and had a decent lead, and is those moments where those are things that can stretch out a lead, that can push a lead a little bit farther, can make the game feel a little bit more comfortable for the team. Now, I don't want to be too comfortable because we've seen what that does with a big lead in the Minnesota game. But hitting those shots just allows that energy and the hall to just erupt like it should and like it can. And there was a good push and a good lead going into the second half, or going into the halftime, with 10 points, up 10 points, and I think it was really just what a glimpse into the future. Geo Baker making that 3-point shot to knock it within 7, and that's just something that was a glimpse into the future. Like I said, that was something to come, and that did not make things feel too good. Had a rough start going into the second half. IU had 3 turnovers completely in the first half, and in the first 4 minutes of the second half, they committed 4 turnovers. So we've gone back to the situation where whatever's going on in halftime, whatever's being said, the guys are relaxing. I don't know if they're tired from the effort they put in the first half or what is going on, but to go and do that and come out that flat and everything is dumbfounding. It's something we've seen too many times this year, and it was something that started to dig that hole and started to get us in trouble. Now, in the middle of the second half, they started to throw that zone at us, and we had a little bit of difficulty with it. The zone kind of neutralized anything Trayce Jackson-Davis was wanting to do, kind of cut him off completely. And then it neutralizes also Xavier Johnson. Xavier Johnson can't get downhill like he normally wants to, can't get to the basket, do his things. So it's just rough to see that happen, because then where else is other offense coming, and it needs to come from 3-point. And it was at least good to see. We talked in the Minnesota game about that stretch where Indiana was struggling, and coach needing to call that timeout and him wanting them to play through it and learn from it. And when we were playing against that zone, it was a similar situation. And thank goodness coach did call a timeout then and got the guys a little more organized. And that's when we had that nice little curling play down the lane for Race Thompson to get a layup. And that kind of opened things up just a little bit, or just stemmed the tide. And in the middle of the second half, things started to get going, and it looked a little bit better. I mean, we had a 7-point lead at the 9-minute mark. And then it was just empty possession after empty possession. And the defense wasn't as intense. And I think a lot of times it just gets down to toughness with this team. Rutgers would take the lead with 2:30 left. That was, other than the beginning of the game, which again, I don't really count leads as much at the beginning of the game until you get into about the 5-minute mark, 6-minute mark, because it's close and things are just trying to find rhythms. But in all actuality, Indiana led for about 36 minutes of this game and then just did not execute there at the end. It's just down to missing wide open shots. Whether they're rushing them at that last second, not taking that little extra time or beat to get settled. But when you go 6 for 21 from 3, and your 2 spot-up guys, the guys that are brought in there to shoot threes and make threes, go 3 for 14, it's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a bad game. Not going to be a good thing. And going back to it, it's down to the toughness. If you've listened to the show before, my broken record thing last year was the Bulldog. I wanted that Bulldog player. And I'm going to amend that now. I want the Bulldog team. I want that full team that just has that grit, has that toughness to get over that hump, to hit the hump, to smack the hump, do what they need to do to get over this glaring issue of execution down the road. And Rutgers, while they do have some talented guys, and they do have guys that can make plays and have made plays in the past and have made plays throughout the year and made plays in this game. Ron Harper Jr., he has crucified us many times, and he did it again because he can make plays. Geo Baker's another one on their team that can make plays. And you can say that with some certainty. And do we have those guys? We have guys that have made plays, but have we had guys that had made them consistently when we need them? Rob has kind of been that guy. X is trying to be that guy for us. I would say at times, I don't know if I can say at times that Trace Jackson Davis is that guy that can just make plays, because he tends to struggle sometimes in those playmaking times, in those tough times of the game. Yes, early in the game and in the meat of the game and throughout a game, he can make plays. But I'm talking about in the instance of guys that can make plays for you. It's crunch time guys that can make plays. Trey Galloway, I think, is close to that, being that guy. Maybe it's not from a scoring standpoint, but there are a few guys on this team that I would say now are the Bulldog. I think Trey's a Bulldog. I think X is a Bulldog. And I just don't know where it is from there. And Trey, this is another game that Trey is sorely missed. I mean, how many games have we lost because we just don't execute? We just don't have that toughness. Both Wisconsin games. the Ohio State game. There's many games. The Northwestern game, nearly the Minnesota game. And I think that's the frustration and how we continue to be in this mental state as fans of IU is because we've seen how they can execute. It's easier to be fans of a team when they're being tough, when they're fighting, they're trying their hardest. That's hard to say though. I don't want to say not trying because I'm not alluding to the fact that these guys aren't trying that are out there. But when you lose, when you put it all out there, you can stomach that a little bit better because you can say we just lost, we got beat, we lost. But when you collapse yourself, it's so much harder. It's so much more frustrating. And the frustration can be spread around. I'm frustrated with Woody as well in this game. The second half, it was mostly all starters that played, and we had those shooters that struggled and everything, and we didn't see Anthony. Anthony Leal has stepped up in good moments for this team. He has made good plays. He is a decent enough defender, at least as good as the other guys you would want to put him in there for. At least test the water with him. Give him 5 minutes. See what he can give for you. Try that. Because if you're banking on these guys that haven't hit him to eventually maybe hit him, I don't know. That's a tough situation to do. Tamar, yes, he has his struggles. Yes, he is still learning. But again, test the waters with him. If he hits a shot, if he's a guy that if he hits one, if he can get a rhythm, he can get going, and things look a lot better for him. Positives, Jordan Geronimo, thought he had a pretty good game. Deserved some more minutes, I think. Had some great plays when Indiana needed it. Did some decent things against the zone and has really found his footing in those kind of little jumpers, that mid-range game. Continue to be excited for him for that and for his future, what he can bring to this team moving forward with that shot and in that situation. Trace Jackson-Davis, again, thought he got off to a good start. The zone just created difficulties for him, and then Rutgers just got more physical with him. And their big guy down below just knocked him a little bit off of his game, and that fadeaway just wasn't going. And again, the missed layup situation. Here's that stat again, guys. 8 for 16, 50% on layups, and some layups crucial there. Towards the end of the game, there was that possession where Race got the rebound, tried to put it up, and missed it. And then Trace immediately got it up, tried to tip it in quickly, and missed. A little rushed. A little bit too rushed of a game. And despite all that, the bad luck that Indiana has, we were at least lucky enough to get a little bit of luck thrown our way at the end of the game in that F2 call, flagrant 2 call, that put us close enough into the game. And then we even got a decent rebound off of a missed Parker Stewart shot to get him it in the corner, and he made the second one to tie the game. So little heroics there that almost got us back in the game at the end. Thanks to a good rebound. And rebounds were a little, we got out rebounded, I should say, 33-21. And it just seemed that during those important times in the game, the ball just bounced better for Rutgers. It just bounced away towards them. And maybe again, it comes down to the toughness thing. they weren't tough enough trying to snatch up those rebounds, and those kind of little 50-50 rebounds that you put a little bit more effort, you might get it. But it's just frustrating. And it's beating a dead horse if we sit here and try to argue about what it is. And the only thing I can say is that it's down to that. It's that toughness and everything. And I have hope for the future of this team. I think it's idiotic to already be calling for Woody's head or anything. I mean, if you see anyone saying that on social medias or anything like that, they're out of their gourd. They're just, nowhere should you be calling for that after a first year. We just got amped up really in the preseason with everything that was going on and stuff. And it's a team that struggles and struggles with the identity and the toughness and everything. Now, as always with these games where it's the seniors game, I want to shift away from that, shift away from the criticism and this game in particular, and not talk about these guys let me get to yours first before I get into this. Fear of failure is the intense worry you experience when you imagine all the horrible things that could happen if you failed to achieve a goal. Yeah, I've been down with that, Nick. I see that in this team. And I think that aligns pretty closely with toughness. I think you battle that fear by being tough, by mentally, physically, and everything else. So, you have a good point there. But I want to talk about our seniors. And there might be more guys that are seniors. I haven't listened to the speeches yet. I was a little numb after this game, and I just kind of had to zone out from everything, and I didn't want to listen to those with a jaded mindset. I'll go after this or some point today, and I'll listen to the guys' speeches and everything. I want to talk about those guys, not in the context of this game, but obviously just thanking any player that's going to come and play for IU. Race Thompson has been through quite the ringer as a player, and he is a tough guy. I would say he's one of the more tough guys on our team. He's always been that glue guy. He's always been that stable guy, the guy that does those little things for this team. And he's stuck with this team. He had a chance. He could have gone anywhere. He could have gone to Minnesota. He could have gone lots of places. And he stayed with this team. So I thank him for that. And we've seen him grown as a player. We've seen him grown mentally and physically, as they like to always show those Cliff Marshall before and after photos of him. He's been with the team for a long time. He came early. He sat out for a year to learn and get his mind right. And just embodies being a good player and an enforcer in a way too. If guys are trying to push around one of the IU players, he's going to step in and stare you down and tell you that's not cool, and you're going to have to go through me. He's one of those guys you want in the trenches with you. Outside of basketball, on the basketball court, he's going to have your back. So I thank Race for the years that he's given IU, and I pray that we get one more with him. If basketball is the future that he's looking for, then one more year is going to do amazing things for him. That's not to say that he may try to use that one more year and go somewhere else. And I wouldn't fault him for that. He's given us 5 years. And I wish him well. I wish him well if he moves on to the next level, and I wish him well if he moves on to another team. I will harbor no ill will if that is what happens. And thank you, Race, for what you did. The other one that gave senior speeches is Parker Stewart. I know his was recorded because he doesn't like to speak off the cuff and everything, so I'll be interested to hear that one. Parker Stewart's just gone through a lot more in the years that he's been alive and these past 4 years than a lot of us have had to in our lives. And he's had to do it kind of in a public light or in front of a lot of people. A lot of us get to just kind of deal with tragedy in our lives and losses in our lives in a quiet way, in our own way. And he wasn't able to. He came to IU. He sat out the year. He had to kind of relax and figure out his life and get things right. And then he came in and played for us and did what he could to fill a need that we had. He was 40-some% from three for us this year, better than we've seen. While, yes, he has had to deal with some inconsistencies with that, he has put in the effort when he has put on the jersey. He's improved as a defensive player. He's improved a lot of his movement and everything in these past couple games. We've seen a lot better movement from him. So I thank him as well. We haven't gotten to know him very well, just 2 years that he's been with us. But again, thank you, Parker, for coming out. Thank you for being a part of this team and wearing the candy stripes for us. And there's probably going to be a few more guys that go on. Now, I had said earlier that I kind of wish guys would, even if they're kind of on the fence of whether they're going to go or stay, like Rob. Rob is the kind of one that I mainly am thinking about in my head with this, is that I really wish Rob would have given a senior speech. I would rather have guys give a senior speech and then decide to come back than not get a senior speech from them and then they go. Because I want them not only to get up there and be able to say their piece, but also just feel that final love and support and get the chance to take a bow, have a curtain call with Hoosier Nation. And we'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see how this roster lines up at the end of this year. And that's something for the final show of the season. I'll try to speculate on that, and maybe we'll know a little bit more things by that point. But now it's just going to be 100% speculation. We don't know what's going on. So, missed opportunity. Missed opportunity. That's one of the main themes of this year. That was the theme of this game. And I'm not a bracketologist, so I'm not going to say they are in or they are not in or whatever. But we got a lot of work to do now. Things are a little bit harder. We need to... I just want to see them go into this Purdue game on Saturday and just claw, just fight. I just want to see them fight. I just want to see max effort, max toughness. Just get at it, guys. Just don't give up. Just don't give up. Pick that head up. Finish this season. Just don't get blown out. Play hard. Fight. Get 5 fouls. Foul out. Whatever. Don't play dirty, but just compete. That's what I hope to see in this game, and that's what I hope to see from this team going forward. Do what they can in that, and then just continue to fight the rest of the game, rest of the season. Get some decent wins in the tournament. Although I know what you're all thinking. It's in the back of my mind too. The Big Ten tournament is not a Good thing for IU, but who knows? So as always, I will be there to cheer them on. So will you. I know you will as well. So that's going to do it, guys, for this edition of Hoosier Morning After. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Nick, thank you for contributing and being a part of the chat in this show. It's tough, guys. It's getting tough for myself to execute as well. We'll be back again on Sunday morning after the Purdue game. Hopefully a little bit more joyous. Hopefully, even if it's a loss, feel a little bit better on the way they lost. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. There you can find out more information about the show and when I'm going to go live, and even possibly ask questions that I can bring up on the show. Special thanks as always to Bob Thompson for producing the music here on the show. We'll be back again the morning after the next game. Until then, guys, go out there, have a wonderful day.